All right, we are live. Greetings, fellow traders. Let me get this tweeted out so everybody can join in here. 1 second. All right, awesome. Good. All right, we are live. All right, well, I hope everybody had a great trading day today. What a day today. So some active movement today for sure. Today we're going to be continuing our discussion on day trading Elliott wave, and today we're going to do a little blast from the past. Our series from last week, we're going to incorporate RENKO with Elliott wave. It should be pretty interesting. So before we get started here today, everything we're going to talk about is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. So please take a moment to review this disclaimer. Awesome. Good. All right. So what we're going to do is we are going to check and see where we left off in the market today, and then we're going to go and take a look at the futures and see what we have in store this evening, possibly into tomorrow. And then we're going to take a look at the topic, and then we'll take questions and chart requests. So let's get started. So SPX, quite a day today, right? Down 59 points. It was definitely an interesting one, right? So it was a pretty steady down day today. It was what was interesting about it is there was not a lot of volume. You can't see it obviously on the SPX chart, but the volume wasn't really major today, right? It was actually a declining volume down day. So maybe a low volume fake out today, but it certainly wasn't fake during the day though. On the down moves, it actually gave some steady opportunities to the downside, and it gave some nice price action. Let's take a look at the weekly chart here. So weekly chart, right? We had that red candle last week. This week we're turning into almost like a red shooting star. We'll see what they have in store for tomorrow. We do have this open gap below here. It does look like the weekly chart is eyeing it. Not sure if we're going to get to it this week unless things just get really nasty tomorrow. But we may hold this week. We may finish with a spinning top, and then we're getting a little bit farther into this cloud canyon here on the weekly chart. RSI is working its way down. So we'll see what type of volatility we get over the next coming weeks as we again approach the election season. Very interesting stuff there. Daily chart. Okay, so back in the trend box, right? So we had a gap up day yesterday. It was also kind of a weak day, right? So it was decreasing volume as well. We couldn't push above. We left an upper shadow. We couldn't push above the ADMA. And today it was a battle over the highs at the open, right? So it was really choppy at the open today, and finally the bears won the battle and pushed it back down. So it brought us right down to the trend box low, but it did not close below it, and it did not have increasing volume. And we're still being held here by the 50-day moving average. So it's kind of a very key area right here. One of the things we are looking at, right? So if we start from here, right, back from the June lows, and we kind of do an Elliott wave count on this one, right? So 1, 2, right? 3, 4, 5, or even here, right? So that could be your wave 3 up. This could be a wave 4 retracement right here, which is about at a 382 area, right? So this is a very interesting area in the market, right? If we continue to hold this trend box and we push up tomorrow with some good volume, we may see this thing really kind of start to work its way up to get to the top of the trend box. So it could be interesting there going forward, but we'll see how the price action plays out. Let's take a look at the price action here from intraday. So we definitely had a nice down day. So this was it, right, this morning. So the first hour of trading today, it was pretty choppy, right? So the real key thing was the bulls could not, and they needed to, right? The bulls could not push above yesterday's highs. Right, we kept on getting upper shadow. It was very tough to get above that. And then once we finally broke down here with this real nice, it was green shooting star type candle. That's where we had our first flush. Then we had our first retracement right here, right? So this was nice, right? So give us a nice move down here, about a 618 retrace, almost exactly, and then another move down, right? And then you kind of pull back here, right? You can see we had another 618 retrace right here, and then we worked our way down today. So it was a pretty interesting day altogether, right? Let's take a look at the levels here. These are the levels we provide to our members for each market open. You can see how valuable these are. This was the open, right? Very choppy, right? When we see this type of action, we see this type of choppy action at the open, especially when there's a key level being defended right here, we can pretty much assume that this compression is going to lead to expansion, right? So we got a nice move down here. We had this inside candle hammer, right? Hanging man right there, and then boom, push to the downside, another push to the downside, another push to the downside. It was great, right? And then, like we said, we had the 618 retrace right here, right? Chopped around those levels again, defended, and then boom, down again, right? Like we said here, another 618 retrace right here to level, and then we finally kind of chopped around this S2 level right here before we finished the day. So it's pretty impressive stuff. Let's take a look at the S&P futures and see what we got going on here this evening. So again, it was a really really interesting day. These are other levels that we provided to, especially with the ES. It really gives us a lot of guidance for our SPY trades intraday, in addition to the SPX charts and the SPY charts. But we just get so much more data off of the ES, right? So we chopped around here this morning. Whoa, this is really we got 15 days in there. Okay, so when you do the 15 days, it takes kind of combines a lot of stuff. So pretty cool stuff, right? So we could chase a lot of these impulsive waves down today using Elliott wave. Right, and so we had our wave 2 move down, right? Wave 2, right? 3, 4, never crossed over those levels. 5. So that was a nice impulsive wave down. We had this corrective pattern right here. So this was the first wave. So that was your wave 1. Wave 2s are often, right, 618 retraces, right? Sometimes a 786, but a 618 right there, right at one of our signal zones, below the 15 orb low today, right? Really got things going down, and we held this this channel down, for the majority of the day today, right? So definitely gave us some nice moves. This one was not, a true rate, but basically it was a wave 3 of 3, and we were expecting once this came in right here, and we started to push down again, especially again it was off of another signal zone area. We really thought this next signal zone would be tested. Boom, we blew through that right there. We got another retrace up here. What I really like about this one, it was a momentum retrace right here. Our momentum retrace is a 382 Fibonacci's, right? So we tagged that one, and then boom, we finally got to the lower signal zone. We tagged that key 3300 level, and we bounced off of that for a nice move, and then we kind of chopped into the end of the day. So it's really, really cool stuff right there. Again, applying the Elliott wave, applying the Fibonacci's, and a nice move, right? A really nice day. So what's going on tonight? So tonight, they're kind of holding the market up, right? So tomorrow is the anniversary of 9/11, and a lot of times they do, market makers try to hold the market up as much as they can during that. So we'll see how that holds going into tomorrow. Again, it's it is. I mean, it's a somber day, and we think about that and all the everything about it, right? So we're kind of triangulating here going into tomorrow. So let's see how that holds right there. If we could break above this geometric level right here, we might try to work its way back up. We'll see how these levels get tested going into tomorrow, right? So this is kind of just what we're looking at this evening. Again, kind of chopping around a little bit right here. Let's see if we can get some breakout candles. Let's see if we can get some volume in here. Let's see if they give us an interesting Friday tomorrow. So good stuff. So let's take a look here. So again, so the topic today is we're going to wrap up our weekly discussion about day trading Elliott wave. Obviously, there's a lot of topics on it. We went over a lot of basics. We went over some cool examples this week. Today, I want to show you RENKO with it. Right. So last week we talked about RENKO, and what RENKO is it takes out the time factor. Right, so it's kind of interesting, right, and it removes a lot of noise. I get a lot of questions in the group, in general, about Elliott wave. What kind of tools can we use to kind of draw the waves? And there's really Thinkorswim. It's got a couple little things that you could use, but nothing really major. There is some software out there that draws waves according to rules, but then you got to interpret it, right? I think it's better to draw your own waves and then evaluate the price action on your own, right? Because we know we can tell when things are impulse, and we can use volume to our advantage, things like that. But with RENKO, it's kind of cool, right? It takes out a lot of the noise, and you can actually use the same principles of Elliott wave and kind of take out a lot of the noisy stuff in between. So let's take a look at that here today. So let's pull up a RENKO chart here. Let's go to the SPY. It's a little bit easier to do that, a little bit less noise on that one. So when we look at this, when we look at the RENKO charts, what it does, it takes out the time factor, right? So let's go to the settings right here, and we talked about it last week. If you guys want to check exactly how to do it, if you go to the first day, I show exactly how to do it. But you go to your time, you go to the time axis in your settings. Instead of time, you set it to range, right? And then you can basically do it. You set it up to where it makes sense for whatever stock you're using. So I'm gonna try it here with 10 ticks on the ES or on the SPY, and it usually gives a pretty good move off of that. So you can see right here about 10-cent moves, right, represents a tick, right, a tick move on the SPY. So if we go, this is actually today's price action here, and it's pretty cool, right? So it really does take out a lot of noise. We might want to go a little bit bigger than this, just to take out a little bit more noise, but it really, really does help. Let me actually try to, see if I can up it here. Let's see if we put 20 ticks on this, see if it takes out a little bit more noise for us. Let's see. Yeah, so a little bit more noise here is removed. So let's just go with the 20-cent ticks here on the SPY. So cool stuff, right? If we remember the rules of Elliott wave, right? Is one. Whoa! Oh, this is kind of jumping all around the place right here. One. Oh wow! This is not. It's not letting me. Okay, so let's go in here. So basically, right. So the idea is right. 1, 2. Right. Wave 2 will never intersect over wave 1. 3 is never the shortest wave. Wave 4 is not going to go back over the start of wave 1, and then 5, right, to finish the wave, right? And in the context of each of these pullback areas right here, these are ABC formations, and these are 5-wave formations right here. So cool stuff, right? So if we actually pull the RENKO on these charts right here, we can start to see some pretty cool things, right? So when we were chopping around this morning here, you can see we're in a chop zone, right? So we probably don't want to trade that. And then we started to impulse down right here. And so one of the things I really like about using the RENKO charts, and we talked about it last week, is that we can use these to help us find nice viable pullbacks in the context of a trend, right? So we're clearly trending down right here. We talked about 2 RENKO pullbacks. So this did give a 2 RENKO pullback right here, a double 2 RENKO pullback, right? So this is a good way to look at a potential impulsive wave, right? So if we go back to the 10 chart, we might be able to see the 10 tick chart. We might be able to see just a little bit more off of that one. Let's just kind of go and zoom into that here to see if it gives us a little bit more context. So pretty cool stuff, right? So it helps count the waves a little bit, right? So a lot of times here, so we see the wave move down, right? We have an ABC move right here, right? So we can kind of label these, right? So ABC, so here's your 1. I don't know if it'll let me put it on here. 1, ABC 2, right? And then you get a nice push down right here. You could consider this a wave 4. You could consider this a wave 4. That's your 2 RENKO pullback in a trend. Let's just consider that wave 4 right there, right? So which would give us a nice entry. And then here that finishes up with a wave 5 for the impulsive move down. So even if you don't catch, right, we were talking about, even if we don't catch this move, even though there's a little bit more price action going on in there, we can still look for these pullbacks and look for the retracements that make sense, right? You still use Fibonacci's on these, right? Here's the start of the wave down, right? You can see right here, this happened to be a 50% retrace on this move, right? So a nice level right there, and then a good risk reward area to look for a potential continuation down, right? So 1, 2, right, 3, 4, and then 5, and that gives a nice move off that. So that completes this wave, right? And after that, we would look for an ABC retracement before we start to get going again, right? So at this point, it does get a little more complex, right? So we'd probably want to switch back to the 20 tick chart right here. You really got to find what you're most comfortable with on which time frame. But what I like about this, right, is that finishing this wave right here, right, you can see that we had a nice ABC up right here, right, after an impulsive wave, right, and that one, right, was your 618 that we talked about earlier, right? So there's your ABC up, and then we started a fresh trend down, right? So 1, 2. This one actually ended up not being a 4, but this finished the impulsive wave, right? We came back up again, right? And then we started impulsing down again. Then we can start the wave count, right? So if we're continuing to see this right here, here's your wave 1, here's your wave 2, right? And one of these, 3, 4, 5, however you want to say, this could be 4, this could be 4. This is just a 1 RENKO pullback using the 20 tick method, right? And then we worked our way back down here and then chopped into the close. So using the RENKO can help. It can help with this, right? Can help with the tuning out of the noise and make the counts a little bit easier to do. Again, I prefer time. I like looking at the regular candles, but it is a good technique that you can consider using. Let's take a look at Apple right here. Let's use the 10 tick chart on Apple. You can see here we already have this labeled. Let me try 10 ticks on Apple. I think 10 works okay. If not, we'll go back to 20. Hold on one second, it's trying to calculate it right here. So there we go. So yeah, so nice moves here. And again, here's Apple here today, right? So with this move, right, we looked at the original down move here today is a potential wave 1. Here's your wave 2 pullback from the open, right? So here that gave you a 618 retrace on Apple today. And then we could look here, boom, another impulsive move down once we saw the corrective move, right? Here's, 1, 2, 3, actually that would have worked as a 3, 4, 5 as long as 3 was in the shortest, which it wasn't. That gave you wave 3, ABC for wave 4, right? And then it finished with a wave 5 on that one. So it does help tune out a lot of the noise and kind of make the moves clear. Again, 2 to 3 RENKO pullbacks make nice wave counts. Unless you're looking at a bigger, a wave type situation, right? So once that wave was done, we could tell we were in the chop zone right here. You can expand the RENKOs into that chop zone and go to 20 ticks on that, right? And you can see where we got there off of this move, right? So with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you can see here we did an A, B, C formation right here, and then we started another leg down on that one, right? And you can see here just 1 RENKO pullback right here just kind of gave the rest of the wave down today on Apple. So really, really cool stuff. It's a way to tune out the noise. You can play with it and practice with it. Back test it and see if it works for you. But it is a nice way to kind of be like. Sometimes it's hard to interpret whether waves are finishing or not. and just makes a nice tool just to add to the toolkit. So hopefully you guys find that helpful. And at this point, if anybody has any questions or chart requests, please feel free to plug those in the chat window. We'll try to get through as many as we can and try to wrap as early as possible so we can all have a good night's sleep and another awesome trading day tomorrow. So I'm just going to switch us back to the 5-minute chart right here, and then you can kind of see here it gets a little bit tricky, on the regular candlestick start. So sometimes those RENKOs can really help out a little bit. I do like using these right here. Is definitely a wave down, right? Then you had your ABC, and then we work back down again here intraday on Apple. So anyway, good stuff. So let's take a look and see what we got going on here. I don't know if I saw an email come in from Shirley here. Let me just double check my inbox. Let me make sure. Oh, yep. Shirley, she got sent in a few in late here. That's okay. Let me just put those in here real quick. We've got a few good ones on here. Good, and okay, we'll take a look at this one here too. Okay, so good. So good. Got it. 1 second. 1 second, guys. Okay, good. All right, so Shirley said a few in there. Again, continue to keep Shirley your thoughts and prayers. Always that goes a long way, right? So we'll get those in there, and we'll get to that in a little bit there, Shirley, if you're listening along here. So good stuff. All right, so let's take a look here and see what we got going on. So ZEK, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're doing well. Let's take a look. So we got OSTK. So what do we have on Overstock yesterday, right? So we had a double inside day yesterday, right? So it gave us a nice gap up this morning and a good push right into the open, and then a crazy reversal off of that one. So keep an eye on Overstock going into tomorrow. That shooting star candle, if the market is weak tomorrow, could get things going again to the downside, right? Because we've gapped over that double inside day range. We left a gap below, and let's take a look. We'll keep an eye on that one here. Again, the options are pretty crazy on this one, right? The volatility is like just inherently high on Overstock because of how crazy it is, and but it may want to come back and retest that range here. Big volume today off of that too. So, and also rejected its prior trend box level. So good find on that one. Let's see if that gives a move to the downside on Overstock, especially if it's if it's weak tomorrow. Let's take a look at SDC. Okay, so SDC, great find on this one, right? So we talked about relative strength here, more relative strength yesterday. It did get some. We had it on the bullish game plan today. It did give some nice follow through to the upside at the open, right? There was definitely some profit that could have been taken. 60 anchor yesterday, nice move up, right? And somewhat of a viable pullback on this one, but for the most part, it got some good follow through there. A little bit of an upper shadow now, so let's see how that holds, kind of going forward from that one. So good stuff. Appreciate it, ZK. Have a great rest of your evening. Almo, what's going on? Thank you so much. Let's see. So what triggers the Cloud Canyon to form on the weekly SPX? Yep. So let's take a look at the Cloud Canyon right here. All right. So the idea, right, with the cloud, right, and to review the cloud, you can go back through our just go to our 3-minute series. I do some cloud lectures on that one. We've done a whole series on the cloud before. Really, what the cloud is, right? It's basically moving averages projected forward. Right, so this move down. So picture, right, you have a couple moving averages here that kind of push their way down, right, and then you project it forward, right, depending on what your configurations are. You can project like 26 candles, sometimes 50, however it is right here. You project that forward, and that brings you here, right? So the moving averages that were here are moved forward, and it kind of gets us to an interesting area, right? So we just found that these really play out really well, right? And so when they work well with timing, and they work well with levels. And the reason is because we were strong right here, like say for instance here on the weekly chart, right? We were strong right here moving up, and you can see if there was a moving average right here, and we projected that forward, right? So we activated that, we projected that forward. These moving averages here, there's two different moving averages, they're both projected forward, right? Ends up being this kind of cloud area right here. And so that's why these levels become important. Why is that? It's basically just a reminder of where we were bullish in the past, right? So if we kind of we're working our way up nicely right here, and we pause a little, see how thick it got right here where we paused? If we get back to those levels, oftentimes we can see that as areas of support. And in fact, we did, right? We had once we got down to the cloud back here at the beginning of the Corona crash, right? We did get a relief bounce off of that. We got a nice bounce off of that, right? And so that weekly chart ended up holding as support for a little bit and giving a move. Why? Because we came back to prior levels of support. So it just kind of reminds you of the if you forget to look back when you're doing your charting, it helps you look forward and be like, oh yeah, there was a big congestion zone right here. Well, that usually congestion zones end up being kind of support levels, right? And so we got to bounce off of that. So, but once we lost those levels, those congestion zone levels, which were projected forward right here, then we get more downside, right? So Works on all time frames, right? You just kind of have to incorporate it into your trading strategy, right? So right now we're kind of coming into a time area of where the cloud, where things moved down previously, and we're coming up into kind of a cyclical area right here. Well, hey, we might be in that area where we dropped previously, right? So it helps you with time and it helps you with price. And so that's exactly why that happens. So it keeps us kind of focused on that, right? So we looked at it here. We had a cloud canyon previously back here, right? So we had a prior drop zone here, right? And it projected it forward here, right? So you see how that, right? You have their drop zone right here, projected it forward here, right? Gave you that drop zone. And so the entire time we were pushing over this cloud canyon, we were a little bit worried about it. We were pushing up, pushing up. Now remember, this is back in the end of 2019, and but we did get a nice pullback. Right? We got a really nice pullback within this zone right here. We didn't touch it, but it still kind of kept us clued into that potential volatility. And then things shifted again back forward, right? And you can see how we kind of followed that to the upside pretty nicely. And then it got expansive over it, and then kind of came back down and tested it. So this is a very, very big area of interest for us, and that's why we call it the Cloud Canyon, because it's pretty interesting stuff there. So good. So hopefully that was helpful. Mike, what's going on? I hope you're doing well. Good evening. Glad you're quick profit taking it. Yeah, exactly. It was fast moves today. But yeah, let's take a look at Apple again. We profiled a little bit earlier, but let's take a look at it on the daily chart. So what were we talking about yesterday? Right. So one of the big things that we were talking about yesterday, right, was the inside day, right, and we just couldn't break above it with any authority yesterday. Right, so when we saw this candle, we were really suspect of it because, right, typically an inside day break should give a nice move, right? So typically, like, here's an inside day, right, big breakout, right? So a double inside day, big breakout, right? So today, back then, inside day, big breakout, and it was through a big upper shadow too, right? Well, there's a lot of stops up there. Anybody who's short on that one, right? So it just didn't cover, right? Just didn't squeeze out of it, right? And then today, of course, we got the gap up, right, which is nice, but once we started to push back in that range, look what we did. We came all the way back to retrace through that inside day range. We basically got to those lows. In fact, we did, and that's basically what we expect out of those. So it's a pretty cool price action off of those. So where are we now? We had an outside day today. We did have increased volume on it. We're up a little bit after hours. Again, futures are a little bit green here, so we'll see how it holds right here. But basically, kind of did its job already, right? So we might see a little bit of a bounce yesterday. Maybe the bulls will actually step up and give Apple some action. And then Tesla, right? So with Tesla, right? So didn't quite, almost an inside day yesterday. It had an open gap right here. We ended up gapping above the open gap, rejected the ADMA, pulled back, filled the open gap from the upside. But the cool part is it held that hammer level, right? So after the gap, right, it's kind of holding that. It closed above it. So this is actually kind of bullish. And we're actually getting higher highs and higher lows off of the daily candles, right? I would rather have seen a green candle close green on it, but and back over the ADMA. But let's see if we can try, if Tesla can still try to work its way back up. So good stuff there. Trelly, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're well. Let's take a look at Piton. So Piton's with earnings after hours. It looks like it's up at about $26 after hours right here. So right now, the projected gap is within today's range, right? So we had a big range today. It needs to push, right? It needs to get over that 98.61 level for it to get to like a gap and go. So we'll see if we can push above that tomorrow and get some extra strength on it, right? So let's see how that goes tomorrow. Otherwise, we might see a reversal on it. So we'll see how that goes. So good stuff. Ted, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're well. Cloud guy, what's going on? Good to see you. Long time no see. Let's take a look at Apple. Yeah, so Apple again. We just looked at this one again. It gapped above yesterday's weak candle and couldn't hold it off the ADMA, and then once it kind of got into that prior range right there, it really pushed nicely to the downside. Great opportunities on Apple today, so multiple short opportunities on Apple. Microsoft, yeah, so we get Mr. Softy. Okay, so we got the TikTok news coming out, right? So talking about doing their own sale, not to another company, right? So that didn't help Microsoft. It didn't help Walmart either. And then there was some news that kind of gave Walmart a pop, and they reversed off of it. Below the ADMA right now, right? So rejected that one and kind of into the cloud. So just a little bit of blah on Microsoft right here. So see how it holds. Again, the volume was a little bit blah today too, so it makes it really, really tricky in this area. But in the meantime, it's holding the cloud area. So for the most part. So let's see how that holds. And then work. Let's take a look at that one. So work. So what did we say yesterday, right? So interesting how it was green day today, right? What did we say yesterday? If we could push above yesterday's highs, right, we could get a little momentum push to the upside, right? It wasn't amazing, but it was decent, right? So you got right here, you got to push at the open, you got an inside 15 with another push at the open, you just couldn't get above it, right? But it did give some levels to trade against today, so that was nice on work. So we'll see how it goes. Now, at that point, a lot of times after that, usually day one, you see a good move off of that. After that, it kind of starts to take its own life form, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Michael, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. ELLJ. ELLI. Not sure which one that is. This thing's like some sort of acquisition or something like that. I probably wouldn't even mess with it. So, yeah. So what's up? So let's take a look at work, and then the airlines pump. Yeah. So work, right? So we just looked at that one there. So again, work got that little moment move off an upper shadow there today. Let's see if the market is strong tomorrow. Might get a little bit of a push on it. I'm not going to go too crazy on it. It did have better than expected earnings, so you got that kind of thesis behind it. So just kind of see how the hills there, and then yeah, the airlines again, just more. More craziness, right? So we'll see how that goes right there. A little bit choppy right here, still kind of triangulating sideways, still stuck in the cloud. So good stuff. Yes, the wave counts on SPY could be very, very interesting. So we'll see if that does turn into a wave 4 pullback. Could trap a lot of bears, especially if it tries to work its way back up there. So good stuff. Jay, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Glad you made it. Long time no see. Thanks for making it. So RDFN. Let's take a look, Michael. So yeah, so Redfin, what a push there today. Big volume, big reversal, right? So it did hit all-time highs there, but a huge upper shadow off of that one right here. So it gave a big pop and just kind of drifted down after the close right there. So see how that holds, but I do like the volume definitely shows that folks were taking interest in it, right? So so that was something there today. And then NOVN. Novan. So nice little penny stock name right here. Good breakout of those levels. Big upper shadow at its 50-day moving average. A little bit of caution on that one. Good stuff. Matthew King, what's going on? Opinions on the Google. Let's take a look here. So Google, yeah, nasty outside candle here today. Again, the only issue I have with all these outside candles today is the decreasing volume, right? So that's only kind of the main concern. So it might be like a fake, low volume fake out, right? So something to keep an eye on there. Let's take a look at Zoom. Zoom was good today, right, for a little bit, right? Gave a nice gap up off of the Morningstar reversal. Now, a lot of times these Morningstar reversals do like to pull back, right? So if you kind of check this out here and you go to the Fibonacci's on there, just kind of, see what kind of pullback we get off of this, right? So right here, we're about a 50% retrace of the Morningstar candle. See how it holds, right? And then see how, I like how the ADMA is right at the 618 retrace on that one. So kind of see how that holds and see if Zoom can kind of get going today. But it was nice at the open and to give it a nice push at the open. So good stuff there. And then Lemonade. Yes, please. So, Lemonade. Nice move since the bear flag that we drew here, a couple weeks ago. Good downside follow through there below the ADMA, and it does. I like the inside day reversal to the upside. Like, look where I put the inside day, right at the IPO lows, right? So we started to push above there, a little bit of a push here, and then rejected there just because of the overall weakness in the market. So let's see if it can try to work its way up. So good stuff. Yeah. So Michael, yeah, so Nicola, what was it, the Spiegel report today? The Hindenburg report, or I can't remember exactly what it was, but yeah, they got a nasty, Hindenburg right there. So nasty move down today. Again, big pop off of the GM affiliation, and then a big move down off of that one. So this was on our bearish radar, of course, and then it filled the gap below, but it left an open gap above. A couple things though, right? A lot of folks came out. GM came out and defended themselves, and Nikola came out and defended themselves. Right, so Hindenburg's only trying to make people love us more, but try to destroy it, take the rest of the day to address false claims and all that stuff. So they did defend themselves pretty well today. So let's see if that can hold, right? It didn't help that the market was like super duper weak, right? So very, very interesting stuff. Good stuff, Ramesh. What's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, let's take a look at Facebook. All right, so Facebook, again, inside day down, right? So try to take it to the upside today. We pointed this out in the group today. I think we pointed out on the videos today too. It basically got to yesterday's highs off of the inside day today, and then it gave you a tweezer top candle here, and then it gave an epic short reversal here today. The reversal was pretty strong, right? Then it kind of worked its way down, consolidated, and then it broke down through the morning channel and gave us a nice move down today. We actually shorted this intraday down here, so that made for a nice move today as well. What else? And then Chewy, yeah. So earnings tonight on Chewy. Earnings, they brought in a bunch of money, right? I think they actually beat earnings expectations, yeah. And of course, it's down off of that one. So if you beat these days, right, sometimes it goes down. So a little bit weird on there. Let's see how it holds these levels and see if Chewy can give us a nice reversal tomorrow. So something to look at right there. And then Ramesh, yes, SNPS. Let's take a look. Good stuff. Yeah. So S&P has again upper shadow here off the ADMA on this one. Kind of pulling back. It's kind of scrunched there between the ADMA and the 50 days. So it's a tricky level right here. Let's see if we can get back above today's highs and try to stay above that upward trend line. Otherwise, we might be looking at some type of bear flag formation right here, right? So off of this that flagpole. So again, see if it can see how it holds, right? It's got to hold. It's got to hold. Got to hold that geometric line. Good stuff. And then again, yeah, we talked. Shirley sent these in here. So Shirley, let's get to these. So we got Netflix. Good one to look at right here. Great breakdown on these ones. The only thing that concerns me about all this stuff, right, is this declining volume, right? It's hard to get super duper bearish. I know the candle's really nice. I love how it's breaking down in the cloud. I really love it. But again, we're right at a geometric level right here, probably geometric line right here, and lower volume. So it just makes it a little bit rough to short. Especially with the as funky as the market is right now. So see how the futures hold. Might be a low volume fake out on that. ANTM on the other hand, bigger volume. Right, so that's definitely pulling back pretty hard right here. I think it's good enough to keep on to put on the bearish radar as well for tomorrow, and just kind of see how that holds. What else? What else? So we've got Hess. Yeah, so oil names, very interesting. So you got a couple oil energy names out there. So Hess, wow, oil's been so weak, right? That's a really nasty breakdown candle on Hess right there. So yeah, definitely breaking down on that one. Looking pretty interesting. Look for some downside follow through on that, of course. And then wow, CVX, just a CVS. I'm sorry, CVS. A nasty pullback on this one as well. Yeah, below a lot of key levels right here. Wow, CVS with a big breakdown on that one. We'll see if we get some more follow through on that. I love how it broke down the geometric candle areas recently. I like the increase downside movement on CVS. So interesting how it's kind of tied to the software sectors too. So again, just kind of keep an eye on those, see if we get any follow through, and then of course we'll see what kind of price action we get tomorrow. And then Noble, right? Noble Energy. Let's take a look. Yeah, it's starting to break down here as well, right? So again, kind of a cheaper name right here, but it's starting to break down declining volume, right? So I think CVS is probably one of the more interesting ones. So cool, good stuff. Umesh, what's going on? How do you set those arrows in Thinkorswim to move between charts? Up here? Okay, yeah. So what you do is, right, is you have to have a grid, right? So next, right up here, you should have, if you haven't done anything with it, there's probably just a square box up here. If you click on that, it pops up a grid. And then when you have that grid, right, what you do is, I made my grid just, this many wide, right? And so what you do is, between each one, if you want to look at the different time frames, all you do is you click this guy right here and you make them all match the same color, right? So I have all mine as this number 9, right? Purple color right here. So it's all the same chart, and I just put a different time frame on each chart, right? So here's your monthly chart, weekly chart. So if you don't have like tons of monitors and all that stuff, it's a great way to kind of scan through and just see how your stock is or whatever you're looking at is behaving on multiple time frames, right? So it can be very, very helpful. Right, so that's how you do it. And then if you still don't see it after that, there's a button in there that you can click that says like restore cells right here. Sometimes you do that, it compresses into the grid, and then you just go maximize cell again, and that should kind of trigger it to work. So good stuff. Michael, what's going on? Yeah, RH, right? So big move on RH. So big move on RH today. It just couldn't gap and go. Why? Well, it just didn't get any strength, right? A lot of declining volume here out of the 15-hour breakout, and kind of working its way down right here. So yeah, interesting mover there. Red candle today, so it could just be kind of holding the gap right here. RH can be a strong name, had great earnings, so I would prefer to see a green candle, see if it consolidates. Otherwise, a breakdown below those lows might start to push itself into the gap. Porsche Alexander, what's going on? What's going on? What are you drinking? I am drinking tea. I'm drinking herbal tea, so with a little bit of cinnamon in it. So gets me going. So anyway, good stuff there. So Geo Lulu, let's take a look. Good to see you. Yeah, so Lulu, again, down off of, I think, decent earnings, right? So a lot of these pullbacks could be buyable eventually, right? So it gave you an upper shadow here today. Let's just see how it's holding the cloud pretty nicely. It's holding the congestion zone, so just kind of keep an eye on it, see if it gives some sort of daily reversal on that one. V. Yeah, so V with an outside day today as well. We looked at this one. We looked at this one intraday here. Okay, so it's basically sandwiched here between the 80 EMA and the 50. It's a tough one right here. Again, we had a nice push up. Definitely a triangle range right here. So this could be your wave 4, wave 5. So we're probably in some sort of ABC correction right now on V. So just kind of tricky there between those levels. And then Netflix, we looked at a little bit earlier. Great breakdown candle on this one. Again, the declining volume is the only thing that's a little bit concerning about that one. So just you got to see how it holds up tomorrow and how the what the bulls have to say in response to today's bear move. Right, and Adobe, again, big upper shadow off of that one. Had a decent candle yesterday. Earnings coming up pretty soon, so let's see. It's been pretty strong recently. Let's see if we can give a little bit of earnings run on that one. Then we'll see what it's up to. It's good. And then J&J? Johnson & Johnson. So let's see. So Johnson & Johnson pull back right here, that bull flag breakout, gave a decent move right here. That's kind of chopping around in these areas. Again, just to kind of make sure it holds the cloud right here. If it breaks down below there in the 200-day, things can get a little bit nasty. So good, Ramesh, what's going on? So can you explain confirmation candle and how many candles should we consider confirmation? Well, when you're looking for a reversal, right? So a lot, it kind of just depends on your time frame. It depends on the chart pattern, right? So here, right, I would see here this bull flag right here. You start to break out right here, but I want to see some confirmation on it with some volume. So get some nice volume confirmation right here, right? And of course, it's heading into earnings a little bit here on Johnson & Johnson. You got some nice follow through. You got a good gap up that day, even though it pulled back, right? So it just depends how long you want to hold. Sometimes it gives a good move, but don't be afraid to take profit on a nice gap up like that, right? So that's the idea there. And Netflix, right? You want to see moving out of a trend line and a trend box, right? So if you look at SPY and SPX, right? So the idea with this is that we're we've been breaking down below here, but we really haven't gotten any real confirmation, right? So this was a nice close below these lower shadows right here, but the volume was declining on this one, right? So this is one where like, it's breaking down, but there's no volume, right? But if you go back to the Corona crash, right, you can see we had our upper trend line right here. We broke down below here and we confirmed below it, and this one did have, you can't see right here, but on the SPY, this one did have increasing volume, so that gives you a confirmation right there. It was also below the 80 EMA, right, and then we ended up gapping down, right, over the weekend off of the Corona crash, and then just kind of continued its way down, right. So it's a tricky game, but right, we've talked a lot about breakouts, and if you go back through our breakout series, things like that, right. Anytime you have a geometric level that is good and is kind of building up, right, whether it's like a kind of a cup and handle pattern, we want to see the breakouts and we want to see volume. All right, that is basically the idea. So volume helps to confirm. Reed, what's going on? You must be so lemonade. Yeah, I know. Lemonade is funky one. That was Lemonade was a IPO recently, and it was they don't make lemonade; they sell insurance. So there you go. Exciting stuff. Tracy, what's going on? Good evening. Thanks for tuning in. Let's take a look at Twilio. Okay, so so Twilio, struggling a little bit right here, right? So we had a big reversal shooting star candle right here, right? We confirmed below that shooting star candle with some increase volume, a little bit of a lower shadow, and you got some nice follow through to the downside on that one, right? So we did have a low volume fake out here with an upper shadow, and it kind of brought us back into the cloud, but it's still struggling to get over the 80 EMA on Twilio. So just something to keep an eye on there, and you got some low volume going on there too. GII. Okay, so let's see. So the GI Apparel Group, so this one's looking pretty good right here, right? So this is a cloud breakout right here. Good increasing volume on this one, so that looks like a pretty decent confirmation for me. So tomorrow, I'm going to actually put this on the bullish radar for tomorrow and just see if that can get any fall through the upside. I really like the volume, and I really like how it's breaking out of the cloud on that one. I even like that hammer from yesterday too. So let's see how it goes. I don't think I've really messed with those options, but I think it's one to keep a good one to keep on the radar there too. And then Beyond. Beyond's a wild one, right? So, it gave a nice move today and then an epic reversal too, right? So it was really, really strong at the open, big blast to the upside. Again, you get your Fibonacci's on here, right here to here, right? It gave a 50% retrace, it bounced off of that one, and then this level right here gave another, right, 618 retrace right there for a pop, and then it was over for the day after that. Tricky right here with the upper shadow, right? It did close above the prior geometric line, but it's got other levels too. That it could be dealing with, right? So you got this. It's just the upper shadow is a little bit sketchy there on Beyond. Only thing on that. But you know how Beyond likes to move? It gives like these 1 or 2 day moves, and then it just kind of starts chopping around again. So a little bit of caution there. And Alexander, let's take a look at Amazon and see how that's going here today. So Amazonius. So Amazon down 93 points today, right? One candle is more than some stocks have moved in their entire existence. But anyway, outside day today, right? So increasing volume, which is good, right? If you're looking on the short side for it, but it was kind of face planted right here on the 50-day moving average. Really, really key level, right? A lot of algos, a lot of traders like to use it as potential reversal, right? We saw the same thing with Tesla, right? So it pushed its way down here too to its 50-day moving average here, right? Kind of face planted there with increasing volume, and then it ended up kind of working its way back up off of it. So it's not a guarantee, but it is a key level. It is a key area of interest. So good stuff there. And then let's take a look at Shopify. Yeah, Shop's still chopping, right? So we are below the prior range right here. It does look like it might be working on a bit of a bear flag. It's that's crazy. Top of the flag right there, a little more symmetrical. It does look like it's working a bear flag right here, right? So you move down right here, bear flag, and we'll see if it gives a symmetrical move. Maybe you can get some confirmation or some volume out of the cloud on that one. Otherwise, it could be choppy, sloppy. Shoppy, sloppy. So anyway, good stuff, guys. So I really appreciate everybody for tuning in this evening. It's been an awesome discussion this week on Elliott Wave. Oh, last one there, Facebook. Let's take a look. Sneak one in here. Yes, Facebook was actually pretty nasty. This is probably my favorite one on the bearish side. The only thing I don't like is that we're coming into this big congestion range right here. But I do like the increased volume. I do like how we broke under the inside day. So we should look at this one tomorrow to look for some more downside follow through if the market is weak and if tech is weak. So definitely something to keep an eye on there. So otherwise, we're right in that. We're right basically in a daily signal zone, right? So we had a lot of chop and congestion, right? So it could hold as potential support. All right, so good stuff, guys. Again, really appreciate everybody for tuning in. I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your evening. Be sure to, if you are new here, definitely click subscribe on YouTube. Also hit the notification button to see when we put out videos. We put videos out intraday, in the morning, afternoon, and after hours. And we also do other cool videos there. Check out the playlist. Also, be sure to check out the links in the description. Go to our website. If you like what you see here and you feel like jumping in our Discord and in our private Twitter, the links there in the description. And you can catch our newsletter, which comes out on the weekend. So that's coming out too. And so other than that, guys, we'll catch you guys Sunday evening. And I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your night and a great training day tomorrow. We'll also see you guys bright and early on the YouTube video. And I hope everybody does great there. Oh, also be sure to hit the like button, whether you're here, whether you're new here or not. Please hit the like button. And even if you're watching the recording, hit the like button. We always appreciate it. All right, guys. Hope everybody has a great rest of your evening. Stay healthy out there, and remember your risk first and stay safe. So you can stay